Alright, so welcome to the director's commentary of my short film, The Child. I'm Remy, and I'll be taking you through what I did to create this film, some of the decisions I made, and why I did what I did. The way I have this set up for you is on the left-hand side. Obviously, you can see the timeline. This will help you kind of get an idea of my workflow and some of the things that went into the short film, while on the right hand side you'll be able to see the short film while it plays with the timeline. Let's get started. So pretty much to start off with the intro credits, the music for this short film was inspired a lot by Tim Burton. I've always enjoyed his movies and the way he's gone about creating them, and I wanted something that was kind of lighthearted but also had a creepy feel to it, which kind of is what attracted me to this carnival-esque style music, to kind of also represent the fact that there is a child and there is an element of horror to this overall film. Now, the lightning in the sky in the opening scene are both CGI. This was done by simply putting a mask over the original sky and keyframed the mask to go up at the same time as the camera panned up on the house. Well, panned down with the house, actually. And then just basically replaced the sky with a stormy sky. And once we go through the window, this dolly-in effect, this slow zoom in, was basically created all in post-production. All I really did was a keyframe of a slow zoom in and had it to where the keyframe stopped right before the first thunder hits. And I wanted the beginning of the scene to be one long take, which still progresses even through the next parts that are cut in. But this way I figured it would represent a good amount of information without using up a bunch of dialogue or exposition, but it would also help kind of build up the suspense for when that first thunderstrike hits. Alright, so basically the lighting for this scene was just a simple 2 to 3 point lighting. I had a small aperture MC light right in front of my computer right in front of my laptop in order to simulate the glow from the computer screen. I would also go on to use the aperture MC light later to simulate the lightning strikes from the thunderstorms. Right after the thunder hits is when you can start seeing things change for the character. His coffee cup starts steaming, a little bit more CGI effects start coming into play, and then things start going a little bit eerie around him. I wanted the steam on the coffee cup to actually be present throughout the whole zoom in, but it was really hard to align the steam effect along with the zooming in, so I had to kind of choose when and where to apply the effect. Right here, if you notice in that lower right hand side of the wall, there's a little bit of a CGI character making his debut. This actually was a longer scene right here with this over the shoulder shot, but it kind of seemed like it was being drawn out with the more dialogue that was on there, and plus I had to go through and do some ADR for it, and wound up it was just so much easier to trim up a little bit of the dialogue and just make the whole thing a little bit shorter overall. So here's one of the first continuity errors that I'll point out. When getting up from the table, the character actually has the coffee cup in their left hand, but as he stands up in the next scene, the coffee cup is in the right hand.
Ah, shit.
Exactly what he said. So the majority of this film was actually shot at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I had to do my best to hang up black sheets and try to block out all that extra outside light. And right here you can actually see some of the light shining through from what I had up, and then you can also see a camera in the back right hand side. And then the second continuity error is that I forgot to leave my computer screen on for this shot. And then if we go back just a bit, you can actually see the two green lights from my lavalier pack that was on my belt, and completely forgot it was there, and really couldn't reshoot this scene that easily just to get rid of that, but it happens. So during this scene, I had to where I was wiping up the copy with one hand while trying to pan up the camera with my other hand, and I honestly wish I would have left the hand towel in the shot while the camera panned up, but it is what it is. So the sound effects here were pretty much put in for nothing more than a transition from the power going out to the character finding a flashlight to investigate further what's going on. From right here, this is kind of like another long shot I wanted in the film, but after receiving some feedback, I kind of decided to add in some sort of facial reaction shots, and it would help break up the scene a little bit, as well as help to trim down some of the original shot. Yeah. I actually think this is one of the better shots of the whole film. This was actually done with just a single light in front of me. The camera's in front of me, had the door open. The camera and light were in my son's room, shining in on me, and that's all really the light sources I had for this. And then, of course, when it's over the shoulder, just reverse the camera behind me and with single light and all that. When opening the door, I had a couple of questions about this, how I went from out of focus to in focus, and that's kind of where I cheated just a little bit and actually made the camera do the focus pulling for me, because it was locked onto the door. When the door opened, it had to automatically switch to me. So this knife scene was actually really difficult for me to put together in post, because it had a lot to do with the bright colors from my son's table. But in the end, I wound up having to put 2 separate masks on each side of the table, and then 1 mask around the knife in order to adjust the color and the contrast to make the knife stand out a little bit more, while the color of the table wasn't so blaringly in your face. This is basically the first time I ever worked with my son on a camera in a professional environment other than taking pictures. He wasn't thrilled at all about having fake blood on him. Initially, he was going to be covered with a lot more blood than what he was, but after starting, he kind of was not into the whole idea, and so I kind of had to shoot what I was able to get him covered in. But after a little bit of Oreos, some negotiations and whatnot, and I think it was like a chocolate milk, I was able to talk him out of his trailer and get the shots that we needed. So this was actually the 4th peanut butter and jelly sandwich iteration we actually went through. My son kind of had a couple problems of dropping it, or the dog came in while I was resetting the camera and ate it, and that, or we just wanted a snack. So we went through quite a few peanut butter sandwiches, and I'm actually surprised we didn't go through a lot more. So the majority of this ending was basically fleshed out and shot 2 nights prior to the project being due. I had a prior idea in my head on how I wanted to end the film, but I wasn't fully satisfied with it and wanted to expand on it more. It's kind of when I thought about making the character, wake up from a dream cliche and be able to give him actual 360-degree closure from the start of the film to the end, and we're basically back to the original point. But there you have it. It's pretty much a quick rundown on what I did and the director's commentary about the child. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making this movie and learned a lot from it.